and thank you for the opportunity to present today. I tried my best to prepare, but I still need my script for a sense of security and for emergency. So I'm pleased to share my study on conflict transformation through narrative dramatic agency, and I applied the theoretical framework from the Lederach's conflict transformation and analyzed the paratextual on the Reddit community post. And yeah, let me start by briefly introducing the game itself. Disco Elysium, produced by Zero Room Studio and released in 2019, is a video role-playing game and is notable for its rich narrative. And the game allows players a degree of influence over the storyline and through what we call narrative dramatic agency. And set in a fictional West city of Ravasho, the player takes on the perspective of Harry Dubious, an amnesiac alcoholic detective, and he investigated a murder case alongside with Lieutenant Kim Kisilaki, and the players navigate the Harry's personal struggles and the city's broader social and political tensions, and primarily through the dialogues and inner monologues. And given Disco Elysium's adoption into live action and tabletop role-playing game format, the game is worth exploring for their potential to promote conflict transformation. And let's turn to the theoretical framework. Lederach's conflict transformation redefines conflict as a life-giving opportunity for constructive change. And conflict transformation is a relationship-centered approach instead of focusing on the current issues. So the theory emphasizes understanding the historical context and analyzing the relational dynamics within the broader patterns. And from my studies, there are two relevant dimensions. First, the personal dimensions, which considers emotional and physiological states. And second is the relational dimension, which focuses on communication and power within relationships. And in role-playing games like Disco Elysium, this dimension manifests through players' immersive engagement with the game's narrative. Importantly, the immersive engagement is created by the narrative dramatic agency that is provided by the game. It refers to a player's ability to influence the story and characters within the game, thereby having a meaningful impact on the unfolding narrative. And each decision, and in video games, this agency is often expressed through meaningful choices made in the storyline, and each decision a player makes draws upon their analytical skills, their understanding of conflict context, their knowledge of character relationships, and their own personal preferences. And this process allows players to reflect on fictional conflicts and consider or even practice alternative plot developments within their agency. This aligns with Lederach's view that transformation involves analyzing the social conditions that give rise to conflict and seeing how conflict impacts social structures and decision-making. Furthermore, outside of the gaming world, players can still reflect on fictional conflict situations or even contribute to discussions on the gaming in the gamer community, which can foster players' metacognitive awareness of conflict transformation and potentially influence real-world conflict skills. This is why I include the paratextual analysis. So in my analysis, the term paratext refers to the expanded framework, specifically the user-generated Reddit posts. This is where players discuss and reflect on the story, theorize about characters' arcs, and share alternative interpretations. And my research aim is to assess how narrative dramatic agency is in role-playing games can facilitate conflict transformation, contributing to our understanding of video games as tools for conflict education. This leads me to two research questions. How does gameplay enable conflict transformation, and how do players represent its effect? And how does Disco Elysium specifically engage players with conflict transformation processes? Let me begin with the character sheet. This mechanism is central to the player's experience. As shown in the screenshot, it includes 4 main attributes: intelligent, psych, physic, and motorics, and further character categories to which players allocate skill points. It shares some similarity with D&D. Because its skills influence checks during the dialogues, unlocking unique narrative paths. And I will present an example of this later. And furthermore, the skills are personified in the games as Harry's inner voices, representing his fears, logic, empathy, and impulse. Sometimes these voices provide players with helpful cues and assistance in navigating the gaming world. For instance, encountering Everard, the leader of an authority in Disco Elysium, the volition skill reminds the player of the power play during the interaction, helping them to choose one reaction from the list of options. Players have highlighted how the system mirrors their internal struggles, because sometimes the skills provide controversial information and at the same time. The Reddit discussions frequently mention that the character sheet helped players reflect on personal conflicts or understand emotions better. In this way, the mechanism serves not just as a gameplay feature, but as a tool for self-reflection, a cornerstone of conflict transformation. As one player commented, the DE archetypes helped me apply a name to my feelings, compartmentalize them, and put them in dialogues, and they help us expand our understanding of our own and other inner lives. Back to the game again. These mechanisms offer valuable insight into protagonist Harry's inner monologue and his perception of the game world, enabling players to consider the context when making decisions that drive the narrative forward. I will illustrate this with an example as my next point shortly. And the second game mechanisms I want to discuss is the transformational design of character's arc. I will specifically focus on the transformation and the growth of the character Cuno. The teenager, as the protagonist first meets him, he was throwing rocks at the hanged man on the crime scene, and his development illustrates the potential for transformation within Disco Elysium and invites players to reflect on relationships. Initially, most players are taken aback by Cuno's offensive language and aggressive behavior. However, a critical skill in the transformation is empathy, as empathy skill, which within the game helps player to decode the character's motives and emotions. As shown in the screenshot, there is a checkpoint in empathy to the fifth, and passing the check, the narrative about Cuno will progress. The player can discover Cuno's traumatic home environment. The portrait below presents his father, a drunk weak man, and Cuno's dynamic with other abusive figure of Cunonis, as shown in the overlay. Using empathy skill on Cuno reveals layers of vulnerability and intelligence hidden beneath his aggressive exterior. Serious Reddit users reflect on how this shifted their own perspective on both the character and broader themes of violence, trauma, and redemption. Early interaction with Cuno are often abrasive, even violent. Players can, for example, choose to punch him. In response to this action, the game allows players in future dialogues apologize to him, as shown in the screenshot. This action encourages players to make positive changes in the relationship and enhance empathy and communication skills on the side of players. And Disco Elysium allows in its concluding act the recruitment of Cuno as journal partner to Harry, symbolizing his potential transformation in a future police officer. And this transformation depends on the choices made by the player. In community discussions, many players described Cuno's arcs as one of the most powerful examples of personal growth, both for him and for Harry. As shown in the screenshot, a player commented, "I preferred the Cuno ending not just because he needs saving, but because it's a great representation of Harry redeeming himself. His development invites players to engage with relational empathy and consider how change is possible even in similarly hopeless situations." And to conclude, I examined 2 game mechanisms with the evidence from the user-generated paratext. My analysis of the character sheet mechanisms demonstrates the central role of self-reflection in promoting personal conflict transformation within the game, while the character arc design, especially Cuno, exemplifies how game can simulate and support relational transformation. Both mechanisms highlight how narrative dramatic agency, the power to make meaningful decisions, contributes to conflict transformation through cultivate empathy and openness in role-playing games. This research contributes to a growing field that see video games not only as entertainment, but as serious cultural texts and even educational tools with potential applications in conflict education, empathy training, and peace building. And this is my reference list, and thank you for your attention.